Did you guys ever see I Love You, Man?
Yes.
Dude, that line in there, because every time while we've been talking about givers and takers, I keep thinking about that line where like he finds out the best friend finds out that the girlfriend doesn't do certain sexual things, and he's doing a toast for them, and he's like, "I'm just saying, Chloe, be a giver." Your fiance, he's a giver.
Yeah.
He loves to give.
You should give too.
Just give.
Be a giver.
Welcome back to the Refined Life Podcast. I'm gonna be a crooner today. Yay. I'm Bigg Vinny. That's Jeff Suter. This is my buddy Jared Blake. Da-da.
You know, I don't think that he mentioned our names on the last episode.
I didn't mention mine either.
I wasn't saying you were being unfair. I was just saying I don't think you announced
Oh,
who we
sure,
were.
Jared.
Is that your version of a freestyle?
No, I got a freestyle for you. It goes like this. I got nothing.
I thought he was fixing to rap.
All my raps always, I can't even do rapping unless I'm writing to a certain thing, because if I just freestyle, it always comes out dirty.
I wish everybody.
It's like every time I write a Christmas song.
I wish everyone could experience you two on the stage doing the whole.
The rap medley.
They
Yes.
can. They just got to come to a show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're open to the public.
Show? When is the next
Friday. Oh, wait, this won't be out then. Every first Friday of the month, we do a show at the Fountains.
I don't know that y'all have ever done the rap medley at the Fountains.
Probably
we
not,
have
because that's not allowed there, I don't believe.
That's not
Yeah.
because Scott don't like when we rap.
That was a horrible version of letting people know that you can rap. I don't.
Not in Scott. That rhymed. Bam. Truth bomb.
Okay. Truth bomb.
Truth bomb.
I can't make it emoji.
Only
so
those
I have
of
to
you who
say-
listened to the last episode understand that.
Today, Vinny was the hammer and she was the nail.
Yeah, bam. She got nailed. Hey, wife. Oh.
What are we talking about today, Vinny?
So this is something that's been on my mind, and I think it's something that we should talk about more, because we've started building ours. But building your Super Bowl team, and I don't mean your fantasy team that you're building your fantasy football team, but building the people that are around you, surrounding yourself with the people that are going to help you grow, not just in your job and your business and things like that, but grow in your spirituality with God, grow in your love, grow in your way I'm a better husband because I'm around you guys, and I hear advice that he's been in the game longer. I don't know how long you've been married, but y'all have different experiences than I do. You have a different wife obviously than I do. I mean, most of the time. But what I'm saying is, it's like, how do you build those people around you? How do you surround yourself with? And that means sometimes, like a Super Bowl team, or like any football team, you have to make cuts.
People get cut.
And I think it's hard sometimes to make those cuts. It's hard sometimes to get rid of the people because they've been your friend for a long time. And it doesn't mean that you're not friendly to them. It just means that, hey, I can't give you time in my life, because if I give you time in my life, I'm taking time away from the people that are truly meaningful in my life. And so I think talking about that will, open up the floor to, what is your take on it? How do you go about your daily life of who you're going to bring into your fold? Who gets in, who gets kicked out, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, I think it's a delicate subject, because we all walk on eggshells, especially when it comes to family. When it comes to your friends, your family, people you've known your whole life, a lot of times they feel entitled to your time because they've been there. And I had to learn a long time ago that just because they've been there, just because you've known them for a long time, doesn't mean that they get to be part of your life for every single thing you do. So I think that would be the first thing. And I look at you as somebody that we both look up to you and think that, man, this guy's got it together and all that. So
Mainly because you're 2 inches taller than us.
yeah, well,
That's fair.
yeah. Unless I wear cowboy boots.
I mean, I could put my seat down.
Yeah.
And be a little bit.
Oh, mine's already
Do
done.
they make cowboy boots big enough for your calves?
No, it's a funny thing. I went
You said that like it was a surprise. I don't think anyone in this room was
Oh.
surprised by that.
It's always
Maybe women's boots where they're like kind of elastic,
yeah, they like stretch around superhero boots.
compression boots.
Yeah.
We need to get you down to Fort Worth and go get some
Dadgum
customs.
Fort Worth. Phew, I'll be a rootin', tootin', shooting cowboy.
And we can watch the bull run while your custom boots are getting made.
I'm in. So I think that would be my first question to you is just like, when you're out there and you're building this team and you've built a pretty cool company and you're doing all these things, what are the first things that you're looking for? What are the first things that are coming to your mind, as you're surrounding yourself with certain people?
I think number one is separating givers from takers.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're surrounded by takers, you're getting took.
Yeah.
It's going to be impossible to find your way to the best version of yourself because everybody's just take. Whereas if you're surrounded by givers and you yourself are a giver, you're surrounded by the positive side of them two options. So for me, it's givers and takers.
Yeah. And so how do you identify? Because a lot of people are good at faking it, right? A lot of people, you think, man, this guy's got my back or this girl's got my back or whatever. How do you identify the taker and then get rid of them?
As far as identifying the taker, I think if they're robbing you of joy, you've got yourself a taker.
Like if they're making your day more stressful, if they're making your day.
And on a consistent basis, right?
Yeah, everybody has bad days.
If all they do is bring problems to your plate, you've got yourself a taker. If all they do is ask you to borrow money, you've got yourself a taker.
Yeah.
So there's different ways to pinpoint a taker.
Yeah.
But I think it's just acknowledging what they bring to your life on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, however often you operate with them.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thought that I want to know your opinion on, because it definitely seems like I feels like you have a more basis of this than I think we may have. You came right out of the gate with some really strong ideas. So I almost feel like we're interviewing Jeff now.
I know, but we kind of are.
So with that giver and taker mentality, because when you first started talking about that, I thought, well, I think I'm pretty good at keeping the takers out of my life. I'm pretty much surrounded by givers. But then as you started talking about what they're taking from your life, are they constantly bringing joy, or are they bringing frustration? What are they bringing in and out? So I don't think that I necessarily understand that line, because I think that I have surrounded myself by a lot of givers. Now, the difference is that those givers, while they're giving and doing a good job, they're still bringing a lot of frustration to my life in a lot of ways. And so most of the people I know genuinely care about people and want to help, but it doesn't mean that they're not feeling, one, entitled to more of my life than what they can have, or looking and thinking of me as being selfish because I spend a lot of that time focused on my family rather than them. Or then, like you said, specifically with an employee, you get those. If an employee is doing a really good job for you, but they're constantly bringing frustration to you, is that a giver or a taker?
You've got a good worker that's probably got to work on themselves a little bit. So it might be a situation where I would try to lead by example.
Mentor a little bit,
and see if you can coach up. And
You're not talking about Cash.
No.
He's a good worker.
No, he's great.
But if you can't coach up, coach out, right? So
I love that.
I think at the end of the day, taking doesn't have to be monetary.
Yeah.
Right? It can just be emotions.
Mm.
Right? So if you've got yourself a good worker and he's your worker and you have to spend 10 hours a day with him and he's robbing you of your good days, is he really that good of a worker?
Well, I mean, so that's a great example. So if they're a good worker, they do their job above and beyond, but they also complain pretty nonstop.
I've had that.
Where is that? Is that because
good worker or not? I'd rather have somebody that
who was mediocre but had a good attitude.
Mediocre with a good attitude, absolutely.
Yeah, what's in the Bible? I think it's called sowing discord. So a lot of times you have when I was managing my Sonic back in the day, I would always have these guys or girls that would be phenomenal at the position that they were doing, but they would constantly come to me and complain and critique and tell me everything that was wrong with this other person and what they're doing wrong and how they need to do this or they need to do that, and or almost like tattletelling on people, And I don't mind that if you come to me like, hey, I think we could help this person if we did this, but it's just a constant complaining and all that kind of stuff, and they're sowing that discord. And what happens is, as you sow the discord, it's going to spoil the fruit, right? One bad apple, or one bad apple spoils the bunch or whatever it is. I think that's one of the things that happens is you get somebody in there, and even though they might be the best person at the job, but if they're constantly telling people, "Oh, you suck," or "You're this," and to make them feel less than, then they can ruin that whole entire group.
Yeah.
And then eventually you're like, "Dude, I can't have you around anymore.
Yeah.
You're hurting everything here." One of the ways that and I'm bad at this because I love people and I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I want to give everybody the chance, and Jared knows. Jared's been a huge help for me to be like, you just gotta let them go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but what if they, it's kind of like, you got, my sister is a fixer. She'll get a guy that she thinks that she can fix, and she'll spend 3 years trying to fix him just to realize that no, he's going to be the exact way that he was when you met him. But, and I'm not saying that everybody's unfixable, but anyways, one of the ways I've found to get rid of people in my life, and this is pretty much a non-negotiable for me. If I come to you and I'm excited because something good happened for me, I had a win, whether like something happened good for me in music or my business is doing well, this, that, and I come to you as a friend and I say, man, I'm super excited about this. This happened for me. And immediately you turn it to you and you start talking about how, well, I mean, you should do this, or why ain't I had that happen for me, or whatever, and I'm just like, but can you celebrate with me for just a second?
Yeah.
Can you? I mean, I'm aware that like I want you to have this success, and I want to be there for you. But just give me this, 10 minutes to be like, dude, I'm proud for you. I'm excited for you, And I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to name any names because I've cut this person out of my life. But I had a person that I told that something that really good happened to me, and immediately they started saying, well, can you do that for me? Can you tell them to do that for me? Can you get them to do this? Can you get them to do that? I'm like,
Selfish side came out
but
quick.
hang on a second, bro. I was excited and telling you like I was excited and I trusted you as a friend because I'm not going to go out there and tell this information to everybody, but I trusted you as a friend to tell you this, information. And I thought your first response would be like, dude, I'm so happy for you, and I think you see that happen a lot of times in the music business. It's hard because you got everybody that's striving to get that position. They want to win. And
we keep saying that, but I think it's the same as every other
it's
business.
every business.
It's
Yeah,
just
it's every
people
business.
I think that other businesses sometimes hide that a little better than the music industry does.
Yeah. And probably because we're all emotional people because we're, we're creative people. But, just that really bothered me. And I noticed that it happened a few times. And I talked to Jared about the situation, and he was the one who said, you just got to let him go. I was like, yeah, but I've been their friend for so long. And he literally said, so?
I think my response was, yeah, you've been their friend.
Yeah, that was what you said. You
They're
said
not
you've
your
been
friend.
their friend.
So
That's
let's take
exactly what you said. Yeah.
Let's take it a step further. What if it's family?
I could care less, man. I have a bad spot on that, and I don't get it when people talk about it.
Yeah.
Blood thicker than water, man, that's crap to me. Like, you are either an awesome person or you're not an awesome person. If you're not an awesome person, I don't have room for you in my life. It's just the way it is. And I don't need to, Sean Hampton and I talk about this a lot, and because we have certain family members that we're not that close with, and like, I don't have time to spend time with Sean the way I want to, let alone some dude that I don't like that I'm just related to. I don't care about that, man. Yeah. So I don't get it, and I look at it very much. I mean, at this table right here, I know I could call on you guys anytime, and we really spend very little time together in comparison to what we would. We spend a lot of time now because of this podcast, right? Yeah. But, outside of this podcast, it's not a whole lot of time. So I look at it and go, if I don't have time for the people I already love, I definitely don't have time for the people that aren't, helping and supporting. Yeah. And so now on that note that you were talking about, I'm still a little stuck on this give or taker thing because, I think that sometimes there's also that giver, but they don't understand your job or what you have to go through. And I think that's where I find myself most of the time, is that it's a giving sort of personality, and they definitely are giving to you, but then they're so opinionated and argumentative over the things that they don't have to do. Like there's that whole idea of heavy is the head that wears the crown, sort of thing. The things that they don't understand that you have to go through. I mean, make one simple of, the amount of times that I've had a band member complain about flights.
Right.
And it's like, dude, you didn't do anything, let alone did you even pay for this flight. And maybe I could have gotten a better flight for $1,000. Like it's this weird.
Why are you talking
spa.
about recent events for?
Well, in that one, that's a recent event that happens every freaking
time,
trip.
Yeah.
There's always someone to complain about something.
Why are we flying so early? Well,
why are we doing this? Why are we doing
only
that?
Cost us $500 instead of $800.
I've never gone overseas without having a band member say to me, well, I don't understand why we get to the airport so early. Because I lose my my ass if we don't show up. That's why, because I'm still paying you and paying for all the expenses here. And if this gig doesn't go down,
Yeah.
I'm the one that loses all the money. So when you're in business for yourself in any way, it's always on you. The expenses of that business
Yeah.
is on you and the decisions you have to make and trying to figure out the best thing for you, your employee, your family, everything else is all weighing in on that. And so to watch people constantly not understand what's on your plate
Yeah.
and constantly question you and argue about it, it robs my joy every time.
Yeah.
And so I question those things. So once again, like, is that a giver? Is that a taker? Because you can clearly see elements that they are giving, but you can see them taking your joy on a regular basis as well.
So the regular basis is the key, right? In my opinion,
Mhm.
if it's just when you're flying with said bed member or bed member,
Bed member?
Whoa. If it's only like at the airport with the band member, that, in my opinion, is not necessarily going to make them a taker,
Right.
right?
Right.
If it's just in them select moments.
But then you may choose to spend time away from them then.
But but then if you get on the plane and it's, well, why aren't they serving us donuts
Right.
instead of peanuts? And then it just continues, right? Like
Right.
at
Yeah.
some point you got to be like, this dude sucks.
Yeah. I don't think I want him around anymore. Hey, and we've done that. We've let people go. There was, an individual in the band at one point that was really hard for me. And the reason being is because nothing was ever good enough. No matter how much we did, no matter what. We could be traveling on a tour bus. We could be on a private jet. It wouldn't have mattered where we were going, what we were doing. Showing up to a show where they got the perfect green room with all the stuff you could ask for, and they would find something to complain about. That person's no longer with us, but it was hard for me. And because he was such a phenomenal talent, I think we kept him around for a long time that we shouldn't have.
Yeah.
That was the first time ever that I think I went to Jared and said, I don't want this person with us anymore. And Jared was like, you? I was like, yeah, like he robs my joy. He makes me literally, upset that I'm paying him this much money to come out and play an instrument and be on the road and live the dream that he had moved to Nashville to do. It was hard for me. And I think that, we had to compromise in that moment because a lot of times you don't want to get rid of something when you don't have a replacement, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's a taker type of thing too, but it's like, you have to make sure that business is handled first.
right,
You can't
yeah.
just go out there and fire somebody. Oh, well, they suck. I'm firing them. Well, who are you going to put in their place? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, learning those things have definitely been huge for me. So I think when we're talking about building your championship team, when you're talking about building your Super Bowl team, so the first thing we want to do is we want to get rid of those bad apples. We want to make the cuts in our life, whether it be family, friends. What you said earlier, the saying I heard is, blood is thicker than water, but love is thicker than blood.
Yep.
Because I have people in my life that are not blood related to me, but I know that I would trust them with my issues, my problems, my worst things in my life far before there's some people that I would trust in my blood relationship. Prime example, this past weekend, I've never had a relationship with my grandmother on my dad's side. She wasn't around whenever I was a kid, and then the only time I did really know her, she had a bad relationship with my dad. They mended that before my dad died, and I think she's become a better person in that before she passed away. But for me, I never created a relationship with her because she's pretty much been on her way out, for a while. And I had this just thing about me that's like, look, I don't want to bring someone in my life, my kid's life, all this that is on their way out, that has been a negative force in my life that caused a lot of bad things to happen to my dad. I chose to personally not go and engage and have a real relationship with that person. And it wasn't because I didn't love or respect the fact that I came from that. That was my lineage, and that was what it was, because I do. And I still feel, a sadness that that she's passed on because she was a lineage in our family. That being said, I made a conscious effort to not go and have a relationship with her, only because I didn't feel like it was going to be good for my kids, for my wife,
Right.
for my life. And even though she was blood related, like I said, I just felt like, hey, everything I know about this person from the time I was born was never always great. It was never really great stuff. And so I purposely chose to do that. And I have family members that are mad at me right now. And I love those family members and I respect their opinion. But I had to look at them and say, hey, I'm sorry you felt that way.
Yeah.
But I stood strong to what I believed in. And I knew that at some point she was going to pass away and you were going to be upset at me about it. but it wasn't my job to come there and be there. And had one of my relatives send me a pretty bad message on Facebook, which I'm like, well, if he was really my close relative, you would have had my phone
Had
number.
phone number, right?
But but sent me this and just said how despicable it was that wasn't in her life and all this other stuff, and how I'm not there for her and all these other things. And I had to answer back to them. I was like, where were they when I was getting the crap kicked out of me every single day by my stepdad? Where were they whenever I was a kid and I needed help? You know, where was that at? So if you're mad at me because I'm not there now, then you have to be mad at them that they weren't there then. Because
right.
those are the people that were supposed to be protecting me and taking care of me and doing those things. I forgive everybody and I let all that go. I simply chose in this situation not to pursue that relationship because I knew it was going to be very short and I didn't want to get attached to somebody and then lose them that quick. Um, but like I said, it made some family members mad, and I had to look at those people and not look at them, but I had to answer them on a Facebook Messenger message, say, "I'm sorry you feel that way. Get over it."
Yeah.
And if you don't, that's fine with me too, because I have so many people in my life that love me, that care for me, that are there for me no matter what. And to me, that's why I believe love is thicker than blood. I know that there's people in my life right now that if I went to the worst depths of my, soul, they would still love me in spite of those bad flaws that I would have had. So that
Mm.
y'all are two of those guys, and y'all know some of our other friends that are there for us. So it's it's interesting to me when y'all do start talking about the family, and I know your instance with one of your family members as well. Um, how you do have to cut some of those people out.
Yeah, so I think it's important to know that I think most people are struggling with a family member of some sort
Right,
in some way, right? Including oneself. And it's actually been a huge struggle for me over, I'd say, the past year or so.
right.
And ironically, I had a phone call. It's actually a Zoom with a gentleman by the name of Bobby Castro
Mm.
back in, I'd say, February ish, January, February ish of this year. Bobby Castro is a billionaire with a B. And our Zoom was about business.
Mm.
And once we got done with it, he said, "Is there anything I can do for you? Any help I can give you?" And he's expecting me to ask business. But my question to him was, "You're a billionaire with a B. So I know your family comes at you from every direction
Right.
possible. How do you handle that?" And he gave me the giver versus takers. So we were already aligned there. And then he said, "If I do have to start removing somebody from my life, it doesn't mean it's cold turkey, you're out of my life. It just means you slowly remove yourself. You don't respond as fast as you used
Yeah.
to. Instead of responding same day, maybe you respond 7 days later.
Right.
You don't answer every phone call. Maybe you answer every 2 phone calls, right? So you're just slowly removing them from your
Yeah.
life to where you're not just being a dick
Yeah.
and saying, you know what, you're out.
Yeah.
So that was the advice I got from Bobby Castro,
Yeah.
and man, it's helped me a lot.
Yeah. And I think with me, I never cut anybody completely out. I just let them know that until they're understanding that I have my own
Mhm.
family, my own priorities, my own agenda, my own things, and they can understand that they're not going to be that first priority. That they can just they can go sit on the sideline. They can go kick rocks for
Yeah.
for a little bit.
Yeah.
But if anybody in my family called and said, "Hey, dude, I really need help right now." Now, obviously, we're not talking about asking me for money all the time and stuff like that. That hasn't happened too much with my family. Um, but if it's like, dude, I'm in a bad way. I've had several family members call me with the suicide thing and had to talk them down off that. I will take that time.
Yeah.
I'll put everything else on hold, and I was like, hey, look, I got to take this time with said family member, and I got to be there for him and be that rock because they look to some of my family members look to me for that inspiration because they went through the stuff. Some of my brother he went through the things that I went through and worse than I did.
Right.
So if he
Mm.
calls me and he says, "Hey, man, this is on my mind. I'm hurting. I thought about driving my car off the ravine the other day. I'm gonna stop everything I'm doing. I'm gonna take that time." You
You
know.
know, that's a touchy one to bring up, but for me, there was even one of those cases that I still had to cut out of my life
Yeah.
because it was just too many times, man. It was like I'm not your doctor. I cannot be your therapist anymore.
Yeah.
That suicide thing is a touchy one,
tough.
but there's times with that too that I'm just like, you're gonna you almost need not have anyone to call, so maybe you'll get past this because the reality is that if it's on your mind this often, you might be doing it anyway. I don't know. It's just a touchy spot. And one of those people for me, um, their parents actually came to me and was like, "Hey, can you talk to our son?" And I was like, "Hey, I've been talking to this dude. And he's my boy. I've been talking to him for 15 years. I'm done talking."
Yeah.
And he's not listening. And their parents said, "Yeah, but Jared, we don't think that he's as strong as you, and we're afraid that if we stop talking to him, he'll give up." And I was like, "If he's going to give up like that, then he's already given up."
Yeah.
And they cut him out as well, and then he got his shit together. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah, I think
sometimes
you
they're
gotta
that line
realize,
too. Like,
are you
it's
being a
hard.
crutch? Or,
Right.
are
Yeah.
you
Are you
saving him?
enabling?
Are you saving him from falling, or are they just using you as a crutch because they know they can get on you? They can.
Well, no, he
come
went
to
ahead and
you.
fell. He went ahead and fell real hard after that.
Yeah.
But he learned
Got
how to
back
get
up.
back up.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I just think it's great advice. I think that I'm a forgiving, loving person. I mean, like I said, the person that did the worst things to me ever in my life, I forgive them, and wish nothing but good for them. I hope they have a great day. I hope they find Jesus, and I don't wish anything bad upon
That's right.
any of those folks. And my stepdad with him, like I always look at the positive. He kept a roof over my head, food in my belly. He taught me how to hunt, taught me how to fish, taught me how to throw a football, baseball, whatever. That was what my stepdad did. And I think there was love there in order for him to take that time and spend that time with you, because obviously time is our greatest currency. He had to care about me enough for that. So I'm not going to, look at all the bad stuff he did and say, hey, wait, there was never good stuff. So when you are weighing out the good and the bad of somebody, you have to weigh out the good and the bad. You can't just look at all the bad stuff. And I think that comes whenever you're dealing with anything from band members to employees to family members to whoever you're dealing with. Weigh it all out. Look at the pros and cons of what have they brought to your life, or what have they taken from your life. You know,
Agreed.
Like I said, I think that's a little simpler for me, just for the fact of unless I've got to be in business with you in some way. You got 6 kids. I mean, that alone automatically means that you are now at least 8th in line.
Yeah, right.
I mean, so
wait. Oh yeah, yourself is 7th. Okay.
no, my wife.
No, you. Well, she would be 8th.
No, I have 6 kids plus 1 is 7.
I don't
It would
mean in
be
the order. I'm just mean 8 people. You would be 7, 8.
What just happened? What is
No, I'm
happening?
already in the life. I don't need to talk to me. I'm already here.
I'm just
I don't
trying
need to make room for me. I'm here already.
You said 6 kids, and you said they would be 8th, and I was
Right.
like,
So anyone else in my life would be 8th in line to be my friend or someone I'm going to hang out with. I'm already with me.
I don't know. I'm my own best friend. You're my best friend.
This is the problem. You view yourself as a whole other human being, apparently. Like,
Well-
I'm already here. I've never had to make time for me.
Well, you do have to make time for you. You have to give some self-love and make time for yourself.
I don't want to hear about your self-love, bro.
Do you get naked massages?
On a whole, I don't care about your self-love.
I was talking about the total of the numbers, not who comes first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. I was just saying there would be 8 of y'all total.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. What I was saying, what has happened was we were on different wavelengths, but now we're on the same page, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think we're in different books.
Listen, you'd either be 8th or 9th, depending upon who you're talking to.
All right, so here
9th.
you're out. So here's how we do it. So we know it now that these are the people we want to get rid of, and we've kind of talked about how do we identify those people. So then, how do you go out there and find? And I think a lot of times God puts them in your life, but how do you find the people, and how do you surround yourself with the people that you do want to be in your life, that you do want to work with, that you do want to create things with, and all that? So how do you find those people, and what has been your genuine take on that? Like when you found the people, that how did you find them? Where were they at?
So I think living the life with the attitude and the personality and the morals and the integrity that you want to be surrounded by, so, right? Leading by example, you're just naturally going to find people gravitating towards you and around you that want that same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like a magnet,
like how to meet you two.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Farmers
we didn't
only.
go to school together.
You don't have to be lonely with farmers.
It wasn't Match.com.
.com.
It wasn't church, right? It just kind of naturally happened.
Yeah.
It was just a natural progression. And I think I can say that for the closest people in my life. It's just kind of naturally happened.
for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we've had this discussion about past business experiences with you. Um, I think for me, a lot of it is just getting out of my own ego, because the reality is that if I want to win a Super Bowl,
Yeah.
I need people on my team better than me at different
Facts.
things, if not everything. The reality is that if it's me against every other team in the Super Bowl, I don't want to be the best one on my team.
Yeah.
Because that means I
Facts.
can only go as far as I can go.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think when you look at it from a team situation, it becomes a total different thing. Obviously, no one, going to the Super Bowl wants a bunch of guys that aren't as good as them.
Right.
But in life, we tend to be that way sometimes. And so I think that a lot of people do a lot of damage in their life by not getting around people who are better than them.
Yeah.
Because the reality is that I have definitely been jealous in music when I see someone who's not very talented make it.
Yeah. No,
But I've never been jealous of someone who was a badass making it. It's
Yeah.
like when the world heard about Stapleton, I was like, yes, finally,
Yeah.
they
Right.
heard about this guy.
Well, I think it's
'Cause-
different too. When I'm talking about that is your friend, your personal friend. When they have a win, you can be mad that, hey, so and so, what? Are you kidding me? You can do like that. But if it's your personal friend and they have a win, and then you're like, oh, you would never do
I don't
that.
know. Now, if I had a
don't do
personal friend that wasn't very good at what they did, and then they had a lot of success over, I'd still be like, that's a
that.
little
Well, don't
confusing.
surround yourself with people that suck.
Right. But I mean, so that was the point, though. Surround yourself by people who are just as good, if not better than you, and look
Yeah.
at the different things in your life that you need. Just like on a football team, you needing different positions. I need people in different places. I need that person who's that strong leader.
Yeah.
I need that person who's a strong pastoral sort of figure. Your mentors.
Absolutely.
You need people that, for me and you, we need people better at computers than we are. Like you're
I'm
looking
amazing
for.
at computers.
Yeah, you are.
I got on my AOL Messenger the other day.
The guy that thought AI was one word.
He was logging into his MySpace earlier today.
Anyway, so I think
AI.
looking at that team, of deciding what are the different positions that you need in
Yeah.
your life, because even on a mentor standpoint, I've got mentors for all different subjects. That I look to for all different things.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't know if it's an age thing. I definitely find myself becoming far, far more teachable and looking for people who can teach me.
Yeah, I think, and that young, like you're saying, ego. When you're younger, you feel like you know it all, and you want to tell everybody else about it. I think as you get older, you realize
You do know it all. You're wrong about it, but it's it.
No, I know. I know everything. I just can't remember it all at the same time. No, I just think as you do age, that's part of the wisdom that comes with aging, and is that, and not everybody gets this.
Just
But
realizing that you're a dumbass. No
Yes,
matter how much I feel like I'm just getting dumber and dumber.
Yeah.
Like my knowledge is growing, but somehow I'm still more knowledgeable that I don't know a whole lot.
Yeah, you just realize that you didn't know as much as you thought. Yeah, but I think you're willing and you're open to learning. Like you want to be a sponge. You want to pull in as much as you can. Because I mean I learned stuff from my kids. My kid's 5. He'll come up and tell me something. I'm like, I didn't know that.
Well, I learned something from my 3rd grader this morning. Clouds are gas.
I'm very cloudy.
Yeah. I already knew that. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that's my
Chickens eat rocks.
I knew that,
by accident, right?
but I'm from Arkansas.
That's how they chew up the rest of their food.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I mean, neither.
I thought they just, when they were pecking, they just actually got one and they swallowed it. Like, oh shit, that was a rock.
I think it goes further than that. I think it also goes in their belly, and it's part of like the digestion part of it, like just continuing to grind down the food. But I'm not.
Maybe that sounds.
positive.
I've
It
seen
sounds
chicken
like that
poop.
could be right.
And I've never seen a rock in chicken poop. So their stomach acid must be wild to break down.
No, I
that.
think it has something to do with the lack of stomach acid. I can't remember. We'll have to look that up.
But I
Or
do
ask your daughter.
But
Let's
I
ask
do,
your daughter.
I do
Let's
love
bring
eating
her
chickens.
on next week.
Speaking of that,
She's been begging to come on.
yeah,
let's bring her on and talk about chicken
Yeah,
poop.
She's been begging to come
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Speaking of that, I was on Smarter. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
And
Once
you
upon a time.
were not, were you?
I got every one of my questions correct.
Did you?
The 2 people that have bachelor's degrees got none of their questions correct.
Here we go. All right. Chickens naturally consume small pieces of rock, grit, and or gravel, and those pieces pass through their digestive system and lodge in their gizzard, where they chew up the seeds, grains, bugs, and grasses that they eat. The grit grinds their food the way molars grind our food.
Grit, grind, gratitude, greatness, all the G's.
Gizzards.
Gizzards. We missed that one in the last episode.
Oh, that's it.
Gizzards.
What was that one? I didn't see that one. Was that already up there?
Yeah, I
There we
think
go.
so.
In the
Takers have a
words-
go. Read that, Vinny. Can you read that, Vinny?
I got this. In the words of Adam Grant, takers have a distinctive signature. They like to get more than they give. They tilt reciprocity. Reciprocity. Am I saying that right?
That sounds great.
They tilt reciprocity in
Better
their
you
own
than me.
favor, putting their own interest ahead of others' needs. Givers, on the other hand,
We're so
you have no
dumb.
clue what goes through my mind. Givers, on the other hand, givers will help whenever the benefits to the others exceed the personal costs.
Amen. All right.
That's something about givers and hands being right there. Just
Well, my mind went to the same place. You guys ever see "I Love You, Man"?
yes.
Dude, that line in there, because every time while we've been talking about givers and takers, I keep thinking about that line where like he finds out the best friend finds out that the girlfriend doesn't do certain sexual things, and he's doing a toast for them, and he's like, "I'm just saying, Chloe, be a giver. Your fiance, he's a giver.
Yeah.
He loves to give.
You should give too.
Just give."
Be a giver.
All right, so, back on the rails.
So I can go home tonight.
Yeah.
And
And just look at her and say,
just
Just
Be a-
ask her,
be
do
a
you
giver.
feel that you are a giver
Are
or
you
a taker?
giver?
Because I got one for you on either side.
I'm good with both. Whatever you need. Okay. No, so we're out there. We're
Do
trying
your
to,
wives listen to this? Because I have never gotten in trouble for anything we've said on there, so I don't know if it means my wife's not listening or.
I know my wife will listen to a couple of them because the very first one, she said, by the way, I do watch more than just The Bachelorette and 90 Day Fiance.
That's right.
Well,
That's
so
right.
so let it be known. We want to know if you think we're funny. Now, if you don't tell us we're funny soon enough, we will know the answer to this.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if they think we're funny, but I can go ahead and tell you what this says.
Hope you caught that, Autumn. We need to know if we're funny.
I already know I'm funny. Da-da-da. So at work today, I had to start entering inpatient, outpatient, and on-call schedules for all of my providers, MDs and MP, I don't know what that says, in cardiology through the end of the calendar year for 5 hospitals. It's tedious because you have to be super detailed, blah, blah, blah. So I usually listen to music or podcasts. Today, I decided to go back and listen to a few episodes of the Refined Life that I hadn't heard yet. One of which was the first episode. I gotta say, I was laughing so hard at the end when you guys were talking about the couple of times you get upset with each other. I actually had to stop what I was doing because I was laughing so much. And when we were talking about playing, and when Jared was talking about playing Mafia with Cash when he was 8, I think, Jared, oh my gosh, so dang funny. I say that you're just giving him something to talk about in therapy one day. Ha ha. All that to say, many thanks for making my day so much brighter. And I said, thank you so much. We're working hard and on it and loving it. We're at the point where we're getting comfortable in there. She said, you guys are truly a perfect trio. Fantastic balance of laughs and really great conversations that incorporate your various perspectives and life experiences. I love it. People who use what they have been through to help others, really just to meet and love people where they're at. That's my jam. Bam. I like that. That's my jam. It's what drives me to keep fighting because I fully believe God has allowed me to go through the things I've went through, and He's allowed others to go through the things they go through in order to help others as well. So I absolutely love what you guys are doing and are all about, and will always be in your corner and support however I can.
Amen.
Bam. We're
love
funny.
it. We're funny.
We made
I
her
love
laugh
it.
while she was inputting cardiologist information.
I love it. I
Heck
love
yeah.
it.
And I didn't say her name because I don't know if she's supposed to be doing that while she's putting in cardiologist information. So
Well, we appreciate the feedback.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We will take
Always.
absolutely all the feedback you guys can dish out. We need it. We want it. We look forward to it.
and that's back to this whole thing. She's supporting, so she's important. That's the Trent Shelton. He's got a saying. He says, "If they ain't supporting, they ain't important." And I believe that. If you're there with me and you're saying, "Hey, I want to help you drive this ship," and also a good friend is a person that will tell you when, "Hey, you're messing up. Let's get back on track together."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that is what I have in y'all's friendship. I know, if Jared come to me and said, "Hey, man, I want to talk to you about something. I think you need to do better at this," then I would take that information. I'd be like, you know what? If my best friend is going to say that to me, there's probably other people thinking the same damn thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, keeping people on your team, getting rid of people off your team, supporters you want to keep on your team, or at least out there watching you on the sidelines. They at least want to be wearing your jersey in the stands. Um, but yeah, no, I think for me, it's become, and I know we're getting close to the end of this. It's become a reality that as I'm continuing to build my life, and now that I have kids, especially, I'm going to be a little more choosy, a little more picky about who I let on my team, about who I keep on my team, and I will probably be a little bit faster to be like, you know what, you get one or two chances, and then after that, it's not that I don't love you, I don't want to see you succeed, but you're no longer welcome on my team because this, that, or the other. So I'm learning. I hope y'all are learning. Is there anything else y'all want to add to this?
Yeah, you just made my memory jog on something. As your kids get older,
Yeah.
you will probably find yourself wanting to remove people from their team,
Oh yeah,
right?
I already
Did you
do.
go
They're
through
not
that?
even
You had
older.
6 kids. You had to have go through
Yep.
that. Go through that.
Mine are already not older, and I already
I'm-
have a couple I'm removing.
Yeah,
from
I'm
the
going
team.
through that right now with my 9-year-old, and I think she's understanding. But my point in saying that is if you're willing to do it for their life, you got to be willing to do it for your own
Right.
life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I haven't been willing to for a long time. I mean, there's been a couple times I've done it along the way, but over the last couple years, I've gotten way better about that because I just realized, like, hey, man, like you said, I got so many people in my life that are important to me that I love. That if you're somebody that needs to be cut, see ya.
Yeah.
You know, um, and I don't think I have a problem with it like I used to. I still struggle with it, but not a problem.
I feel that.
Anything else, Jared? You'd like to add?
Well, on that one that he was just talking about, that one, I think continues to get harder and harder too, because I mean, like
Yeah, now they're
you
old
deal with
enough.
things, especially when they're old enough to just be with anyone. Now you're trying to find a way to get them to understand the difference between the givers and the takers
Yeah.
out there. And I think when you've raised good children, it makes it really hard for them to understand that because they haven't been hurt by enough people yet
Right.
Yeah.
to really get. And I know that anybody younger listening to that thinks, oh, you're saying that because you think you've been through so much more than I have because I'm so young. I have, and I'm not real sure why that's offensive.
I mean, I'm
I've
40.
been around 20 years longer than you. That means 20 years more of crap has happened to me.
Yeah.
The same way that I look at my 80-year-old grandmother and go, yeah, you know a lot more than me.
I'm
Like,
better
it just-
listen. Yeah.
And so finding ways to explain to my children why certain people are toxic in their life has continued to get harder and harder.
Toxic. I agree with that. I think that as we continue down this path, we're gonna keep finding those people that are gonna be on the team and the people that got to be cut. So, with that being said, make sure you go like, share, subscribe, be a supporter because if you ain't supporting, we kick you out.
Especially YouTube. Go if you're a listener, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, whatever it is you're listening on, do us a solid. Go find the YouTube channel, hit subscribe. Keep listening. Just go hit subscribe.
Yeah, it's called the Refine Life Podcast. So make sure you put all that in. All right, y'all. Well, that's the end of another great episode of the
Yep.
Refine Life Podcast. I'm Bigg Vinny. That's Jeff Suter. Over here, we got the one and only Jared Blake with his Smokey and the Bandit hat and his cool shirt and his cool pants and his cool
That
stuff.
hat's fire.
He's fire. We're ice. It's all good.
It's all good.
I'm like vanilla, and you're like chocolate. So
I was going to make him Iceman.
oh, you're Iceman. I'll be Maverick.
Yeah, we were doing ice. You were doing ice stuff.
No,
You were already Vanilla Ice.
I'm out.
Why are you?
I'm not vanilla ice anymore.
Okay.
I am now Quicksilver.
There's no ice or fire at this point then.
But he runs so fast it sets the world on fire. You know what? I'm just like my son. I like to change outfits a lot. I will be Superman today, the rest of the day. From now on, I'm Superman. Refer to me as that.
I would
That's
like
the-
for you to come in a Superman costume next time.
I will. I came in the very first time. Remember? I had the cape and everything on my shirt.
No, in full outfit
Oh, yeah.
with tights.
When I put on tights, I mean, I'm not going to say anything, but it's probably uncomfortable for everybody else in the room. I mean, it's uncomfortable for me. But then, stuff shows. I wore a Winnie the Pooh outfit one time. Remember that time I wore the Winnie the Pooh outfit? And this thing was about a size too small. And I put it on and stuff had to go on one side of the outfit. and I posted a picture and I don't even think about it because it's me, you, Sloan, and you. Let's see, you were Beetlejuice. Sloan was, I don't remember what Sloan was.
Oh, he was something without his shirt on.
Yes,
'cause
I know. That's
That's what Sloan always is.
He was Roddy Piper. We'll say that. And then Weeks was Captain America. So we post this. I'm Winnie the Pooh. And the very first one, my aunt comments, she goes, I think you should have looked at that picture a little better before you posted it. And I'm like, what? And then I get to look at it. I'm like, oh, moose knuckle.
And on that, we're out.
Peace.
Moose knuckle.